My precious child, a decree was issued in heaven about you before you even opened this message. Not 5 minutes ago, not when you woke up with that heavy feeling in your chest, not when you went to bed worrying about tomorrow. The decree was written before the foundation of the world, sealed with my signature, stamped with the authority of eternity itself. And it concerns the weight you have been carrying on your shoulders, the kind of weight that has become so familiar you almost forgot what it feels like to stand up straight without it. The kind of burden that wakes you up in the middle of the night when the house is quiet and everyone else is sleeping peacefully in their beds. The kind of anxiety that sits on your chest like a physical presence, making every breath feel like work. The God of miracles has been watching you carry burdens that were never meant for your hands. I see you trying to control outcomes you cannot change. I watch you lie in bed with your eyes wide open at 3 o'clock in the morning, staring at the ceiling, replaying conversations that happened 3 weeks ago. Conversations where you said something you wish you could take back. Or conversations where someone else said something that cut you deeper than you let them know. I see you rehearsing what you should have said, crafting the perfect comeback that is now too late to deliver. I watch you replay moments from years ago, moments that still have the power to make you cringe with regret or burn with anger. I see you mentally solving problems that have not even happened yet. You are preparing speeches for arguments that may never come. You are building walls of protection against pain that is still imaginary. You are creating elaborate backup plans for disasters that exist only in your mind. You have become a prophet of doom in your own life, predicting catastrophes and then losing sleep over predictions that I never confirmed. You have appointed yourself as the manager of the universe, taking on responsibilities that I never assigned to you. And you are exhausted. Not just tired, exhausted in a way that sleep does not fix. Exhausted in your soul. Exhausted from trying to hold everything together with your own 2 hands. And right now, at this very moment, I am extending my hand toward you with an invitation that will transform everything. Not just change a few things, not just make your life a little bit easier. Transform everything. The way you think, the way you respond to pressure, the way you handle uncertainty, the way you relate to me, the way you sleep at night, the way you wake up in the morning. Everything. But this invitation requires something from you. It requires that you let go of what you have been gripping so tightly. And I know that terrifies you because letting go feels like losing control. But what if I told you that the control you think you have is just an illusion? What if I told you that your tight grip is not holding anything together, but is actually cutting off the circulation to the very things you are trying to protect? I am the God of the impossible. These are not just nice words to make you feel better. This is the core of who I am. I do not specialize in the easy stuff. Anyone can handle easy. I move in the realm of the impossible. I am the same God who parted seas when there was an army behind my people and drowning in front of them and no logical way out. I am the same God who crumbled walls with a shout, not with battering rams, not with siege engines, not with military strategy, with a shout. I am the same God who made the sun stand still because one of my servants asked me to, and he needed more daylight to finish what I called him to do. I am the same God who brought water gushing out of a rock in the middle of a desert. I am the same God who took a shepherd boy named David, who was so young and insignificant that his own father didn't even bother to call him in from the fields when the prophet came looking for the next king. I took that boy with zero military training, zero experience, zero credibility, and I turned him into a giant slayer with nothing but 5 smooth stones and a slingshot. I have not changed. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. My power has not diminished. My arm has not grown too short to save. My hearing has not grown dull. My vision has not grown dim. I still part seas. I still crumble walls. I still make giants fall. I still bring water from rocks. I still do the impossible. But there is something I need you to understand about how miracles work in the life of someone I love. Something crucial that most people miss. Miracles do not flow toward clenched fists and white knuckles. They do not rush toward people who are gripping tighter and tighter, trying to force outcomes through sheer willpower and human effort. They do not manifest for people who are trying to be God instead of trusting God. Miracles flow toward open hands. They flow toward the one who finally exhales and says, "I cannot do this anymore. I have tried everything I know to try. I have exhausted every option. I have called in every favor. I have worked every angle. I have planned and prepared and strategized and stressed, and I am still stuck. I am still drowning. I am still lost. I do not have the answer. I do not have the strength. I do not have the resources. I do not have the wisdom. I do not even have the faith I wish I had. But I trust that you can do what I cannot." That is when miracles happen. Not when you have it all figured out. When you finally admit that you do not. You have been living in a state of constant tension. Your body knows it, even if your mind tries to deny it. Your shoulders are tight, your jaw is clenched, your stomach is in knots. Your heart races over things that are not emergencies. Your mind has become a war room where you are fighting battles that do not even exist yet. You lie down at night physically exhausted, but the moment your head hits the pillow, your brain switches into overdrive. You wake up tired because you never truly rest. Even when your body is lying down, even when your eyes are closed, your mind is running sprints through worst-case scenarios. You are mentally preparing for disasters that I have already prevented. You are worrying about outcomes that I have already decided in your favor. You are losing sleep over situations that I am currently rearranging behind the scenes, while you lie there in the dark imagining the worst possible ending. You are crying over relationships that I am secretly healing, even though you cannot see the progress yet. You are panicking about provision that is already on its way to you, set in motion weeks ago, moving toward you right now, even though it has not arrived yet. You are afraid of conversations that I have already prepared you for. You are dreading decisions that I have already given you wisdom to make, if you would just be still long enough to hear my voice. And I am telling you with all the tenderness in my heart, with all the love that drove me to the cross, with all the compassion that makes me feel every ounce of your pain as if it were my own. This is not the life I purchased for you with my blood. This is not the peace I died to give you. This is not the abundant life I promised when I said I came so you could have life and have it more abundantly. This anxious, stressed out, control-obsessed, exhausted version of life is not my plan for you. It is not my will. It is not my design. It is what happens when you try to be the savior of your own story, instead of letting me be the savior I already am. This is not the rest I promised when I said, "Come to me all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." That promise was not a metaphor. It was not poetic exaggeration. It was a literal invitation to a different way of living,
a way of living where you are still responsible but not anxious, where you are still engaged but not consumed, where you still care deeply but you do not carry what I never asked you to carry, where you still show up and do your part but you trust me to do mine, where you work hard but you sleep well, where you plan wisely but you do not panic when plans change, where you love people fiercely but you do not try to control their choices. Rest is not just the absence of activity. You could sit still for hours and still have no rest if your mind is racing the entire time. Rest is not a vacation. You could go to the most beautiful beach in the world and still lie there on the sand with your stomach in knots about what's happening back home. Rest is not even sleep, although sleep is part of it. You could sleep for 10 hours and wake up just as exhausted as when you lay down if you spent those 10 hours trapped in anxious dreams. Rest is not a location or a circumstance. Rest is a state of being. Rest is the presence of trust. It's the deep, soul-level knowing that your Father in heaven is not panicking about your situation. It's the quiet confidence that the God who holds galaxies in place is fully capable of holding your family together. It's the settled assurance that the one who spoke worlds into existence with a word can speak a word over your impossible situation and watch it shift in an instant. But you cannot rest while you are still trying to be God. You cannot rest while you are still trying to orchestrate outcomes and manipulate circumstances and control what other people decide. You cannot rest while you believe that everything depends on you. You cannot rest while you think that if you stop worrying, everything will fall apart. You cannot rest while you are convinced that your anxiety is somehow productive, that your sleepless nights are proof of how responsible you are, that your constant state of tension means you're taking things seriously.
Let me tell you what is really happening when you lie awake at night consumed with anxiety, mentally rehearsing how you are going to handle every possible scenario, trying to prepare yourself for every potential outcome. You are not being responsible. Responsible would be praying about it, doing what I show you to do, and then resting in my care. You are not being a good steward. A good steward would be managing what I have given them to manage and trusting me with what I have not. You are not showing me how committed you are to solving your problems. You are showing me that you do not yet trust me with the things that matter most to you. Every sleepless night is a prayer you do not mean to pray, but it is a prayer nonetheless. And it says, I am afraid you will not handle this correctly. I am afraid that if I stop trying to control this, if I stop worrying about this, if I stop mentally solving this, something terrible will happen. I am afraid you do not see what I see. I am afraid you do not understand how urgent this is. I am afraid you might be too slow or too late or too busy with bigger problems to focus on mine. Every anxious thought is a declaration that I do not believe you are paying attention. Every attempt to control is rooted in the belief that if I let go, everything will fall apart. But my child, let me tell you the truth. When you finally let go, that is when you discover that I was holding everything together all along. You were never the glue. I am. Your tight grip was never what was keeping your family together. I am. Your constant worry was never what was preventing disaster. My protection was. Your endless planning was never what was securing your future. My provision was. You have been exhausting yourself trying to do a job that is already being done. It is like a child in the back seat of a car holding a toy steering wheel, thinking they are the ones driving. You can hold that wheel as tight as you want. You can turn it frantically in every direction. You can grip it until your knuckles turn white. But I am the one driving. I have always been the one driving, and I know where we are going, even when the road ahead is invisible to you. I know what you are thinking right now, because I know you better than you know yourself. You are thinking about that situation that feels so urgent, the one that keeps you up at night, the one that makes your heart race when you allow yourself to really think about it. You are thinking about the relationship that is fracturing, the marriage that feels like it is held together with duct tape and a prayer, the friendship that has gone cold and you don't even know why, the child who is walking away from everything you taught them, making choices that break your heart, hanging around people you don't trust, ignoring your calls, avoiding your questions. The financial pressure that feels like a weight on your chest every time you check your bank account or a bill comes in the mail. The health issue that the doctors can't quite figure out, the symptoms that keep coming back, the test results that are supposed to explain everything but somehow raise more questions than answers. The deadline that is approaching like a freight train and you still don't have what you need to meet it. The conversation you're dreading, the one you've been putting off because you don't know how to say what needs to be said without destroying everything. The decision you have to make, the one with no clear right answer, where every option feels like it has consequences you can't fully predict, where you are terrified of choosing wrong and living with regret. And you're thinking, but God, you don't understand how serious this is. You don't know how much is at stake. This is not theoretical to me. This is my real life. These are the people I love. This is my future. This is my peace. This is my security. If I don't worry about this, who will? If I don't figure this out, what will happen? And I'm answering you right now with the same gentle firmness I used when I spoke to storms and they instantly obeyed. The same authority that made winds stop howling and waves stop crashing. The same power that caused creation itself to respond to my voice. I am using that same voice to tell you this. I understand better than you do how serious this is. I know more about what is at stake than you ever will, because I see things you cannot see. I know things you do not know. I understand connections and consequences that are completely invisible to you. I see the entire chessboard. You see the pieces directly in front of you, the moves you think you need to make, the threats you can identify. But I see the whole board. I see every piece. I see moves that haven't been made yet. I see strategies you haven't thought of. I see opportunities you don't know exist. I see dangers you haven't spotted. You think you are being responsible, but I am asking you to be responsible in a different way. I am asking you to be responsible with your trust. People from all over the world come to me with their impossible situations, and every single time, I have the answer. I see the moves your enemy is planning to make 3 months from now, and I'm already preparing my countermove. I see the door that is about to open that you don't even know exists yet. The door you are not looking for because you don't even know what it leads to. I see the person I am sending into your life next week who carries the answer you have been praying for, even though you're going to meet them in a context that seems completely random and has nothing to do with your problem. I see the miracle I am preparing behind the scenes that is going to completely change your perspective on this entire situation. I see how every piece of what you are going through right now is being woven into something beautiful, something that is going to make sense in a way you cannot imagine right now, something that is going to make you fall to your knees in gratitude when you finally see what I was doing all along. And not 1 ounce of your anxiety is helping me do any of that. Not 1 sleepless night is advancing my plan. Not 1 moment of worry is contributing to the solution. It is only stealing your peace. It is only draining your strength. It is only blinding you to what I am trying to show you in this moment. Your worry is not productive. It is destructive. It is not preparing you. It is depleting you. It is not protecting you. It is paralyzing you. It is stealing your joy in the present while you obsess over a future that may never happen. It is robbing you of the peace I have already provided. It is keeping you from seeing the good things I am doing right now, today, in the middle of your mess. It is making you miss moments with people you love because you are so consumed with what might go wrong that you cannot be present for what is going right. There is a difference between concern and anxiety. Concern says, "This is important to me, so I am bringing it to God in prayer. I am laying it at His feet. I am asking for wisdom. I am listening for His guidance. I am doing what He shows me to do. And then I am releasing it into His hands because I trust Him." Anxiety says, "This is important to me, so I need to figure it out right now. I need to know exactly how it is going to turn out. I need to see the entire path before I take the first step. I need to have a backup plan and a backup plan for my backup plan and a backup plan for that because what if nothing works? What if it all falls apart? What if I am not enough? What if God does not come through?" Concern leads you to your knees in prayer. Anxiety leads you to the internet at 2 in the morning, searching for answers from people who do not know you and do not know me and cannot help you but make you feel like you are doing something. Concern says, "God, I trust you with this. Show me what I need to do today. Give me the next step and I will take it." Anxiety says, "I have to solve all of this immediately or everything will fall apart. I have to see the whole picture right now or I cannot move forward. I have to know the ending before I can start the journey." I want you to imagine something. Picture this scenario in your mind. Imagine that your child, the one you love more than your own life, the one you would do anything to protect, came to you with a problem, a real problem, something that matters, something that is weighing on them. And instead of coming to you and saying, "I need help, I do not know what to do, can you help me?" they stayed up all night trying to fix it themselves. They paced back and forth in their room, wearing a path in the carpet. They worried until they made themselves physically sick. They cried themselves to exhaustion. They went to everyone except you, asking for advice from people who do not have the resources, wisdom, or authority to actually help them. They made themselves miserable with stress. But they never once came and asked you for help. They never knocked on your door. They never called your name. They never let you into the situation at all. How would that make you feel? Would you not want to say, "I am your parent. Why are you doing this alone? I have resources you do not have. I have wisdom you have not gained yet. I have lived longer than you. I have seen more than you. I know people you do not know. I have access to things you cannot access. I have power you do not have. I love you. I am for you. I am on your side. I want to help you. I have been waiting for you to ask. Why are you carrying this alone when I am right here, ready and willing and able to help you?" That's exactly how I feel when I watch you lie awake at night carrying burdens I never asked you to carry. When I watch you pace and worry and stress and cry and lose sleep and make yourself sick over things I could handle in a moment if you would just bring them to me and leave them with me. I am your father, not just in title, in function, in relationship, in love, in action. I have resources you cannot imagine. I own the cattle on 1,000 hills. I know the number of hairs on your head. I know the thoughts of every person involved in your situation before they think them.
I can see into hearts and change them. I can redirect paths. I can open doors that no human can open. I can close doors that no human can close. I can make a way where there is absolutely no way. I know things you do not know. I see solutions you have not considered. I've already made arrangements behind the scenes that are going to blow your mind when they come to light. I have already had conversations on your behalf. I have already moved pieces on the board. I have already set things in motion that are going to shift your situation in ways you cannot predict.
But you are going to miss the miracle if you are too busy having a breakdown. You are going to miss my provision if you are too focused on the problem. You are going to miss what I am doing in the middle of this if you are consumed with what you think should be happening instead. Here is what I need you to do. And I need you to really hear this. I need you to bring me that thing that has been stealing your sleep. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You felt it the moment I said it. That situation that you replay in your mind every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, like a song on repeat that you cannot turn off. That problem that feels like a physical knot in your stomach, the one that makes you feel sick every time you think about it. That relationship that breaks your heart every time you think about where it is now compared to where it used to be. Every time you remember what was said or what was done or what was lost. That financial pressure that makes you feel like you are drowning, like there is water rising around you, and no matter how hard you paddle, you cannot get your head above it for more than a moment at a time. That decision that feels too big for you to make, too important, too permanent, too full of unknowns and what-ifs and potential for regret. I need you to open your hands and give it to me. Not because you do not care about it. I know you care. I know it matters. I know it is important. I am not asking you to stop caring. I am asking you to stop trying to be the one who fixes it. Give it to me not because it doesn't matter, but because you finally trust that I can handle it better than you can. Because you finally believe that the God who created the universe is capable of managing your situation. Because you finally accept that my wisdom is greater than yours. My power is greater than yours. My love for you and for everyone involved is greater than yours. Because you finally admit that you are exhausted and you do not have the answers and you need help that only I can provide. And when you give it to me, I need you to leave it with me. This is where most people fail. They give it to me at night when they're desperate and overwhelmed, when they finally reach the end of themselves and say, God, I cannot do this. I'm giving this to you. And I receive it. I take it from their hands. I say, good. Now let me handle this. But then in the morning, when the sun comes up and they feel a little bit stronger, a little bit more capable, they take it back. They pray about it at night and then spend the rest of the day trying to fix it themselves. They say they trust me and then Google 17 different backup plans just in case I don't come through the way they want me to. When you give me something, let me have it completely, fully, without taking it back an hour later. Let me work on it. Let me move pieces on the board that you can't even see. Let me have conversations with people you don't even know are involved in this situation. People whose decisions are going to affect your outcome, but you have no idea they exist. Let me open doors you don't know about. Let me close doors that look appealing, but would lead you somewhere you don't want to go. Let me redirect paths. Let me shift circumstances. Let me soften hearts that are hard. Let me heal what is broken. Let me restore what is lost. Let me make a way where you see no way. Let me be God while you rest. I know this is hard for you. I am not minimizing how difficult it is to release control of something that matters this much. I know you've been disappointed before. I know there have been times when you prayed with everything in you and it seemed like nothing happened. When you begged and pleaded and cried and waited and it felt like I was silent.
like I was absent, like I didn't hear or didn't care or was too busy with more important things. I know there have been moments when you trusted me and things still fell apart in ways that didn't make sense, ways that hurt, ways that left you questioning whether I am really who I say I am and whether I really do what I promise to do. And I know that those experiences made you decide, maybe consciously or maybe subconsciously, that maybe it's safer to just handle things yourself. Maybe it's better to worry and plan and control and strategize, because at least then you feel like you have some power in the situation. At least then you don't have to deal with the disappointment of hoping in me and feeling like I let you down. I understand why you feel that way. But my child, I need you to understand something about my timing and my ways and how I work in the lives of people I love.
My timing is not your timing. I am not slow. I am strategic. I am not late. I am precise. I do not move according to your schedule because your schedule is based on limited information and limited perspective and limited understanding of what is really happening in the spiritual realm and in the hearts of the people involved and in the long-term implications of different outcomes. I move according to perfect timing that takes into account variables you cannot see and factors you do not know exist. And my ways are not your ways. What looks like a closed door to you might be me protecting you from something that would have hurt you 6 months from now in ways you cannot see right now. What feels like a delay might be me aligning multiple circumstances in your favor, coordinating things that have to happen in a specific order, waiting for certain people to be in certain places at certain times so that when everything does come together, it happens in the best possible way. What seems like a no might actually be me preparing a yes that is bigger than what you asked for, better than what you imagined, beyond what you thought to request because you did not even know it was possible. You want speed. I understand that. You want this resolved quickly. You want the pain to stop now. You want clarity today. I get it. But I want depth. I want transformation. I want you to become someone stronger, someone wiser, someone more dependent on me, someone with a testimony that will help other people when they go through similar situations. You want the quickest route from here to there. I want the route that transforms you along the way. You want the problem solved. I want you to discover who I am in the middle of the problem. You want relief. I want relationship. You want answers. I want your trust. And sometimes I let you sit in the tension longer than you would choose, longer than feels comfortable, longer than seems reasonable from your perspective, because I know that the waiting is doing something in you that the answer never could. I am not being cruel when I make you wait. I am being thorough. I am working on multiple things at once. I am solving the problem you brought to me while also addressing issues in your heart that you did not even know needed to be addressed. I am orchestrating circumstances while also building character. I am providing for your practical need while also deepening your spiritual maturity. I am not ignoring your prayers. I am answering them in ways that are better than what you asked for, even if they do not feel better in the moment. Let me tell you about a man named Peter. I want you to really picture this story in your mind. He was one of my closest friends when I walked on earth in human flesh. He was passionate, the kind of passionate that made him say things before he thought them through. He was impulsive, always ready to act, sometimes before he had fully considered the consequences. He was bold, brave in moments when others hesitated, and he was deeply flawed. He made mistakes. He said the wrong thing. He acted out of fear, even when he wanted to act out of faith. But he loved me with his whole heart, and I loved him. I still do. But Peter also loved being in control. He liked to know what was happening. He liked to have a plan. He liked to feel like he had some power in the situation. One night he was in a boat with the other disciples. It was dark. They were in the middle of the sea and they were caught in a storm.
not a gentle rain, a storm, the kind where waves are crashing over the sides of the boat and you aren't sure if you're going to make it. The wind was howling so loud they had to yell to hear each other, and they were terrified. These were experienced fishermen. They knew the sea. They had been in rough weather before, but this felt different. This felt dangerous. And then, in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of the storm, they saw something that made no sense. They saw me walking toward them on the water, not swimming, not in another boat, walking on top of the water as if it were solid ground. And at first, they thought they were seeing a ghost because what they were seeing was impossible. But I called out to them, "It is me, do not be afraid." And when Peter heard my voice, when he recognized it was really me, he got so excited that he didn't stop to think about what he was asking. He just shouted over the wind, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you on the water."
And I could have said no. I could have said, "Peter, stay in the boat where it is safe." I could have said, "Not right now. This is not the time." But I did not. I said, "Yes." I said, "Come." And Peter, impulsive, passionate, bold Peter, did something that the other 11 disciples were too logical to do. He stepped out of the boat. While everyone else stayed where it was safe, where it was familiar, where it made sense, Peter put one foot over the side and then the other, and his foot did not sink. The water held him, and for a few glorious moments, he did the impossible. He walked on water. He defied the laws of nature. He defied physics and logic and everything that makes sense. He experienced a miracle that most people only dream about, that most people would say is impossible, that most people would never even attempt because the risk of failure is too great. He walked toward me on top of a stormy sea. But then something shifted. He took his eyes off me. He looked away from my face and he looked at the storm around him. He saw the size of the waves. He felt the strength of the wind. He heard the noise. He remembered where he was and what he was doing and how impossible it was. He started calculating in his head how this could not be happening, how water cannot hold a person, how he was going to sink any second now. And the moment his focus shifted from me to the storm, he started to sink. He panicked. The water that had been solid under his feet a moment ago suddenly gave way. He cried out, "Lord, save me!" And I reached down immediately, grabbed his hand, and pulled him back up. I did not let him sink. I did not let him drown. I caught him the instant he called out. And the first thing I said to him was, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Not, "You idiot, what were you thinking?" Not, "You failed." Not, "You do not have what it takes." I said, "Why did you doubt?" Because he had everything he needed to keep walking. I was there. I had called him to come. I was holding him up. The problem was not that the storm was too big. The problem was that he stopped looking at me. That question is for you too. Why do you doubt? Why do you look at the size of your storm instead of the power of your God? Why do you focus on how impossible your situation is instead of remembering all the impossible things I have already done for you? Let me remind you, I brought you through that thing you thought would destroy you. I made a way when you could not see any way. I provided when you did not have enough. I healed what you thought was beyond healing. I restored what you thought was lost forever. I opened a door you didn't even know existed. I sent a person into your life at exactly the right moment with exactly what you needed. I turned what the enemy meant for evil into something good. I have already proven myself faithful to you over and over and over again. So why do you sink into anxiety when you serve the God who walks on water? The problem is not that your storm is too big. The problem is that you are looking at the storm instead of looking at me.
You are focused on the size of the waves instead of the face of the one who calms them. You are listening to the voice of the wind instead of the voice of the one who commands it. And I'm telling you, look at me. Keep your eyes on me. Fix your gaze on my face. Listen for my voice. Trust that if I said come, if I called you into this, if I led you to this place, then I will hold you up, no matter how deep the water is, or how big the waves are, or how long the storm lasts. You need to rest, not because there is nothing to do, not because the situation doesn't matter, not because you're lazy or irresponsible or don't care enough. You need to rest because you are exhausted from trying to be God.
You are tired from carrying things I never asked you to carry. You are worn out from fighting battles that I already won 2,000 years ago on a cross. You are depleted from worrying about outcomes that I have already determined. You are running on empty because you have been trying to hold the world together with your own two hands, and it is crushing you. And I am inviting you to step into a different way of living, a way where you bring your concerns to me and then you trust me to handle them, a way where you do what I show you to do today and then you let tomorrow take care of itself, a way where you sleep through the storm because you know the God who calms storms is in the boat with you, a way where you are still responsible but not anxious, still engaged but not consumed, still caring deeply but not carrying what I never gave you to carry. Let me speak directly to the specific thing that is weighing on you right now, the thing that made you feel like this message was written just for you, the thing that made your heart skip a beat when I started talking about burdens and anxiety and control. I know about it. I have known about it longer than you have. I saw it coming before it ever showed up in your life, before it knocked on your door, before it showed up on the test results, before the phone rang with the news, before the conversation happened that changed everything. I saw it coming, and I have already made provision for it. I have already set things in motion that are going to address it, not might address it, not possibly address it if the conditions are right, will address it. I have already started working on it. You do not see what I am doing yet because it is happening in places you do not have access to. I am working in the hearts of people involved. I am working on the people who hurt you, softening hearts that are hard, opening eyes that are closed, convicting consciences that have been silent. I am shifting circumstances behind the scenes in ways that are going to completely change the landscape of this situation. I am moving pieces on the board. I am closing doors that need to be closed. I am opening doors that need to be opened. I am positioning people. I am orchestrating timing. I am working right now, even though you cannot see it. But I need you to stop interfering with my work by trying to force outcomes that I am not orchestrating. Every time you step in and try to manipulate a situation out of fear, every time you try to control someone else's decision, every time you force a door open that I am trying to close, you delay what I am trying to do. Not because you have more power than I do, but because I have given human beings free will. And when you try to force something instead of trusting me, you create complications that I then have to work around. You end up in a room I never intended for you to be in. You start a conversation I did not tell you to start. You make a move I did not prompt. And then you wonder why things aren't working out. It is not because I am not helping you. It is because you are working against me without even realizing it. I need you to surrender completely, not partially, where you give me part of the problem but keep the rest for yourself to manage, not halfway, where you say you trust me but you still have 3 backup plans running in the background just in case, not with one hand open and the other hand still gripping tightly to your backup plan. I need you to open both hands. I need you to lift them up to heaven, palms open, fingers relaxed, and say, God, this is yours. All of it, not just the parts I can't handle. All of it. I trust you with this. I trust you with the timing. I don't understand why it's taking so long, but I trust you. I trust you with the outcome. I don't know how this is going to turn out,
but I trust you. I trust you even if it doesn't look like what I thought it would. I trust you even if the answer is different from what I'm asking for. I trust you even if it takes longer than I want it to. I trust you even if you say no to what I'm begging for, because you see something I do not see, and you have something better that I have not imagined yet. I trust you because you are trustworthy, not because I have it all figured out, not because I'm super spiritual, not because I don't still have doubts and fears and questions, but because you have proven yourself faithful, because you have never abandoned me, because you died for me, because you love me, and I'm done trying to do your job for you. When you do that, when you finally release control and surrender it all to me, something miraculous happens. Not necessarily in your circumstances, at least not right away. The miracle happens in you first. The anxiety that has been your constant companion, the weight that has been sitting on your chest for weeks or months or years, starts to lift. The tightness in your chest that makes it hard to take a deep breath starts to release. The mental loops that have been running in the background of your mind all day, the same thoughts on repeat, the same fears cycling through over and over, they start to quiet down.
But you have to bring it to me. You have to give me what you have. And you cannot bring me what you have if your hands are full of what you are trying to control. You cannot receive the miracle if you are too busy trying to manufacture the outcome yourself. You cannot see what I am doing if you are so focused on what you think should be happening that you miss what is actually happening right in front of you. Open your hands, physically, literally, right now. Stop reading for a second and open your hands. Palms up, fingers relaxed, let go. And as you do, say to me, God, I am letting go. I am releasing control. I am giving this to you. Trust me, and then rest. Rest in my love. Rest in my power. Rest in my promises. Rest in my presence. I know you are worried about your family. I see the way you lie awake at night thinking about your children. Not the easy ones, the ones who are making choices that break your heart, the ones who are walking away from everything you taught them, rejecting the values you tried to instill, ignoring the wisdom you tried to share, the ones who used to call you every day, and now you hear from them once a month if you're lucky. And when you do talk, the conversation feels strained and awkward and distant. The ones who are hanging around people you do not trust, people who do not have their best interests at heart, people who are leading them down paths you know will end in pain. The ones who seem determined to learn everything the hard way, no matter how much you try to warn them, no matter how much you try to share from your own mistakes, no matter how much you plead with them to just listen. You feel like you are losing them. You feel helpless. You feel like a failure. You look at their choices and you wonder what you did wrong. Where did I fail? What did I miss? How did this happen? If I had just done this differently, if I had just said that instead of this, if I had just been more strict or less strict, or more involved or less controlling. You replay their childhood in your mind, looking for the moment where you messed up, the decision that set them on this path, the mistake you made that led them here, and you carry guilt that I never put on you, and shame that is not yours to carry. And I am telling you right now, with all the authority of heaven behind my words, with the weight of eternity backing up what I am saying, you have not failed. Hear me. You have not failed. Your children are not lost. They are not beyond my reach. They are not too far gone. They are not making decisions that I cannot redeem. Nothing they have done has surprised me or shocked me or made me give up on them. I knew every choice they were going to make before they made it, and I still have a plan for their lives. They are in a season of wandering, but I know exactly where they are. I see them even when you cannot. I am with them even when they don't know I am there. I am working in their hearts even when you don't see any evidence of it, even when it looks like they're getting worse instead of better, even when it seems like they're moving farther away instead of closer. I am protecting them from things you don't even know about, dangers they almost walked into that I redirected them away from, accidents that almost happened that I prevented.
decisions they almost made that would have been devastating, and I influenced them to choose differently without them even realizing I was involved. I am closing doors they are trying to walk through that would destroy them. Doors that look appealing from a distance look less appealing when they get close to it. I am putting people in their path who are going to speak truth to them at the exact moment they are ready to hear it. People who have a testimony similar to theirs. People who have been where they are and can tell them where that path leads. People who love me and will point them back to me without being preachy or judgmental or condemning.
You take a deep breath that actually fills your lungs all the way instead of catching in your throat halfway through. You sleep through the night for the first time in weeks without waking up at 3 in the morning with your heart racing. You wake up with a sense of peace that you cannot even explain to someone else because you are not entirely sure where it came from. You just know that something shifted, something is different, something changed. It came from me. That peace came from finally letting me carry what I have been asking you to hand over. That lightness came from no longer trying to hold everything together by yourself. That rest came from trusting me enough to close your eyes and sleep instead of lying awake trying to manage the universe. And that is just the beginning. Because once you have rested, once you have released control, once you have stopped trying to be God and let me actually be God in your situation, that is when you start to see the external miracles. That is when the provision shows up in ways you did not expect, from sources you did not anticipate. That is when the relationship starts to heal without you forcing it, without you manipulating it, without you managing every conversation and trying to control every outcome. That is when the door you thought was closed forever suddenly swings open and you walk through it and realize it was never about your effort or your worthiness or your ability to convince someone to open it. It was about my timing. That is when the person who walked away comes back, not because you begged them or guilted them or convinced them, but because I worked in their heart and they chose to return. That is when the money you needed appears from a source you did not even know existed, an unexpected check, a surprise gift, a refund you forgot about, a job opportunity you did not apply for, provision that makes no logical sense but is exactly what you needed, exactly when you needed it. That is when the test results come back clear and the doctors cannot explain it because the scans from 2 weeks ago showed something that is no longer there. That is when the opportunity you stopped hoping for, the one you had given up on, the one you decided was never going to happen, lands in your lap at the perfect time, with perfect timing that could not have been orchestrated by human hands. That is when you look back and see my fingerprints all over your story, and you realize I was working even when you could not see it. I am the God of miracles, not was, am. Present tense, right now, today, in your life, in your situation. I still part seas. I still make giants fall. I still bring water from rocks. I still heal the incurable. I still provide in the wilderness. I still make a way where there is no way. But I do not perform miracles for people who think they don't need them, for people who have it all figured out, for people who are so confident in their own ability that they never ask for my help. I do not show off my power to prove myself to skeptics who demand a sign before they will believe. And I move mightily in the lives of people who have come to the end of themselves, people who have tried everything and finally admitted, I do not have the answer. People who have exhausted every option and said, I need help that I cannot provide for myself. People who are standing at the edge of their Red Sea with an army behind them and drowning in front of them and no way forward except to trust me. I part seas for people like that. I provide manna in the wilderness for people who have no food, no plan, no hope except me. I multiply loaves and fish for people who brought me the little they had and said, this is all I've got. It's not much, it doesn't seem like enough, but you can have it. What do you have?
Not what you wish you had, not what you think you should have, not what other people have that you're comparing yourself to, thinking, if I just had what they have, then I can make this work. What do you actually have right now, today, in this moment? Maybe it's 5 loaves and 2 fish, a little bit of faith and not much else. Maybe it's just a staff in your hand like Moses had. One simple thing that doesn't seem special or powerful, but it's what you've been given. Maybe it's a slingshot and 5 smooth stones like David had. Something small and seemingly insignificant compared to the giant you're facing. Maybe it's a jar of oil that is almost empty like the widow had. Barely enough to make it through today with nothing in sight for tomorrow. Maybe it's nothing but a prayer and a broken heart and a desperate need for me to do what only I can do. That is enough. Whatever you have, it is enough. Because when you give it to me, I can multiply it. I can use it. I can turn it into more than you ever imagined. I can take your little and make it much. I can take your weakness and show my strength through it. I can take what seems insignificant and use it to do something significant.
I am positioning people. I am orchestrating conversations. I am creating moments where they are going to encounter me in ways they do not expect. I am not done with them, not even close. I am not finished writing their story. This is not the last chapter. This is not even close to the end. But I need you to stop trying to control them. I need you to stop trying to force them back onto the path you want them on. I need you to stop manipulating and guilt-tripping and threatening and begging. All of that is pushing them farther away, not drawing them closer. Every time you try to control them, they pull away harder. Every time you lecture them, they stop listening. Every time you guilt-trip them, they avoid you. Every time you threaten consequences or withdrawing your love or cutting them off, you give the enemy ammunition to use against me, to tell them that my love is conditional, that I will abandon them if they do not perform correctly, that they are not worth loving when they are a mess. What they need from you is not control, it is love. Unconditional, no strings attached. I am here no matter what love. The kind of love that says, I do not agree with your choices. I will not pretend I think what you are doing is okay, but you are still my child, and that will never change. You are still loved. You are still valued. You are still welcome. The door is still open. My arms are still open. I am not giving up on you. The kind of love that keeps the door open even when they slam it shut. The kind of love that prays for them instead of lecturing them. The kind of love that sends a text that says, I am thinking about you and I love you. With no agenda, no hidden message, no attempt to control or fix or change. Just love. The kind of love that trusts me with their story. Even when the current chapter looks terrifying. Even when you cannot see how this possibly ends well. Even when everything in you wants to step in and force a different outcome.